The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting hour of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, squeezably soft host. Once more into the breach we go, dear friends. S&P is up an amazing 27 points at 2017. Volume has been incredibly light today. In fact, I think this may be the lightest volume into 11 a.m. of the year so far. I'll have to go back and look at my records over the weekend, but very, very light open. We're seeing some short squeezes, people slowly covering, but there isn't a great deal of volume. We're basically doing 2.4 billion shares on the New York Consolidated Tape. That kind of compares, I think, to about 2.8 when we walked in yesterday. It was a lot lighter most of the day, got a little bit, but I don't know how many people still remember gas gauges. The old gas gauges where you'd have to, it was literally a single gauge stuck in the dash, and sometimes it would stick, and you'd go up there and and you'd hear the glass, your fingernail on the glass, and you hit it a few times, and you'd pray that it was just stuck and that you weren't totally out of gas. Now, I'm trying to remember when a gas gauge stuck or did anything wrong in the last 20 years. I can remember my first car did it all the time. So I would write down the mileage to make sure that I knew to check it when I thought I was getting close, just in case. But that's kind of what I was doing. I kind of just tick, 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 listening for that little glass sound and hoping the needle would move, give me some kind of indication. And guess what? It did nothing. A fat load of nothing, no volume, vapor, very light. And I don't know what else you can say about it other than that. That's it. Anyway, we'll talk more about this as we go through the day. The first thing to do is get this party started with a little bit of history.
That it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1991, Microsoft confirms it's the subject of investigation by the Federal Trade Commission. Rick Serlund of Goldman Sachs, the top Microsoft analyst on Wall Street, poo-poos the investigation of whether Microsoft is engaging in illegal monopolistic practices. And what happened? Well, politicians actually figured out that these guys had lots of money. Basically, I'm going to distill it down into that. There were some very shifty-like folks that came in around this time from Chicago. They were used to old-fashioned graft, kind of like New York, and didn't like seeing all these guys with big piles of cash that they could not put the squeeze on. At least this is how, for the most part, in a few interviews, Bill Gates describes what was going on. I have to kind of convey that I think that they were probably right because they weren't doing any of the horrible things that they actually got nailed for almost 10 years later at this time. They were just being extremely competitive. I think you could call Amazon as equally a monopoly and doing as many nasty things as Microsoft was doing in 1991 in today's dollars. And so that probably give you a good feel of what was going on. A lot of people just disliked Microsoft, and some just thought that maybe it was a giant pot of gold to go get cash out. Bill Gates was kind of smart and kind of dumb, and it kind of admits it himself. But basically what it had amounted to is these new guys from Chicago had the Chicago way, which was graft, corruption, and if you want to be left alone, you got to give some money to the politicians. He kind of Bill Gates stiff-armed them This went into pretty much the 1996 election, in which he stiff-armed them again. And that was, he says, probably his mistake. He probably should have just paid off the criminals in power at the time. And nothing has really substantially changed since then. The government has figured out, or the politicians of all parties have figured out, it's time to put the tick on it. Now, sometimes a lot of these companies deserve the scrutiny that they are getting. This had to be a pretty much major coin flip until probably 1990. I'm going to call it 1998, when they really started doing some things. I think they thought, hey, we're getting accused of doing it. We just really will do it. And most of the documents that came out of Microsoft in this case, was it 2000 or 2001? Penfield Jackson is the name of the judge, dropped the hammer on them, and they lost almost 30% of their value in one day for antitrust regulations. They got a bunch of people in their business that sat there and watched over the shoulder of everything they did for about 10 years. And now we've changed and turned the corner. Google, the single biggest contributor and lobbyist in the United States. And really, they went from probably about the 100th largest 2.5 or 3 years ago to the #1 lobbyist in America. So technology, of course, I handle this at TFNN with the Tech Insider. Certainly one of the biggest thing, but they've become, I guess, mainstream. Maybe it's kind of like, you've made it when the politicians are after you and shaking you down for cash. I think you could probably make a case that they were guilty of the stuff very late. This initial thing in 1991 never bore any fruit, but they were able to get the proverbial camel's nose under the tent and go fishing and eventually find something. As I said, I have kind of about half feeling that Microsoft just finally said, you're accusing of it, doing stuff, so we'll do it. And the final verdict basically had to come to, yeah, you guys are good, you're better than the rest, and you can crush everybody, so we'll set you back a few steps. Now, probably the worst part of it was Internet Explorer. They did a bunch of creepy things and probably deserved to have their hands slapped in 2001, but probably a great deal more of it was the immortal works of politicians and a giant shakedown. This day in 1991, the whole thing started and probably has built its way until we've got to this point where if you're somebody big, you better be heavily invested in people passing cash around in Washington, D.C. What else is going on out here? That's kind of it. I wanted to get to charts early. I also wanted to say kind of happy birthday. Was reading an article this morning. It has nothing to do with trading, but the oldest man in the world, 115 years old, is also the oldest living Holocaust survivor. Made it through 3 years of the camps and lived to be a ripe old age of 115. So congratulations.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
As always, you can give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can email me at path@tfnn.com. I've got a few emails already. And, of course, you can post a message in the den. The markets are fairly quiet at this moment. I don't think we're probably going to have anything else but what we've got right now, which is extremely narrow ranges and extremely light volume into the close. It looks to me like the market has decided to, as I said in my newsletter today, double dog dare the FOMC to raise rates. We're going to get it up there. We're going to get it up there on no volume. And then what are we going to do? We're going to crucify you with a market headed down. And do you almost feel like Clint Eastwood, right? Do you feel lucky, punk? Kind of market, kind of doing that, isn't it? Just going to Janet Yellen and going, well, you feel lucky. I can't do a Clint Eastwood, but interesting. Looking at a few stocks out here that are interesting. We've got a little bit of volume out in some of these. Cisco Systems, rather interesting to me. It's gotten back up here. It actually pierced the previous high on more volume yesterday. We'll see how the volume comes in today. It's just kind of going out here flat on the right-hand side, so no real good signal. What I really dislike is just the huge energy down in Cisco, and other than the one day off the bottom where this thing gapped up, the very light energy all the way back up to the top. Not a huge trading range and probably not a stock that I'll ever play. Just too many shares and moves too slowly for me. What else is happening here? Ultra Cosmetics. I've never been in this. Of course, don't need a lot of cosmetics. I've seen the store, though. It's up by the Citrus Park Mall. I've driven by it a few times. I used to go by it a lot more, and I imagine I probably should have picked up on it when I saw the crowds of women outside it. I used to go to a Staple to pick up business supplies, but that Staple's closed, so really don't go up there anymore for that anyway. Go on the opposite side of the street. This has been a stock that's been on a tear for a while, if we can say that. Let's get a little longer. thing. This thing is, started off at 83 bucks back on May 29th of 2014. It's kind of come up there. This thing has hit and gapped up to its previous highs. Actually went over it by a few pennies. We've been talking about this phenomena where all these stocks, huge volume, everything, they run right up to the previous high, pull back. And that's what we've got on this one. Earnings were good. I don't think you can say anything about other than that. Let's take a quick look at the volume. What is this? Ultra? ULTA. 4.9 million shares. So you're going up against 1 million shares. So you got all the volume in the world. But it just seems to me that if you got this gap, you probably would have just put your sell signal at the high and taken your cash, because it's hard to find anything that bounces up like this. If they're already there and they have good earnings, then sometimes they are bouncing up. Rarely. A lot of them just come back into the trading range right now. Other stocks, Dr. Gold. I know absolutely nothing about this company. Do they have anything to do with actual gold? But it's back up to where this thing gapped down. Retreatment, production, and sale of gold from surface tailings in South Africa. It recovers gold from tailings in central Witwatersrand Basin. The company was founded in 1895 and is headquartered in Johannesburg, South Africa. This thing's had a nice run. I never hear anybody talking about this. Maybe they do. But kind of an interesting stock. Very, very light volume, but some pretty massive rewards off the bottom. I guess this tailing business would be kind of interesting on, when gold goes up strong. But never really thought about this company much. Never heard anybody talk about it around the den. Maybe they have, and I just missed it. But you might want to look at that. DRD. Not a lot of volume. Wouldn't be putting it in my newsletter or anything, but interesting nonetheless. For stocks that are moving out here, also AV. Take a quick look at this one. Up on earnings, just a little pop. Not a huge volume mover, but at least back up against it. Avaya. Let's take a look at this. I think that's how it's pronounced. Provides long-term insurance, savings, general and health insurance, and fund management products and services worldwide. The company offers insurance and saving products, including pension products such as personal and pensions. Nice little pop in this today on earnings. Looks ORAN. Orange is the new black, except in this one, this is orange-sponsored American Deposit Shares. Talks to buy the phone unit of Boeing's SA, I take it South Africa, have stalled, and it's popped up on that news. NEM was off about 1.5% today. I haven't looked at that for a while. I heard some people talking about this. Again, this is one that's hanging out at the highs. And little pop, some volume out here. What do we have up here? We have it. Try once again here. There we go. Not a lot of volume, not a lot of movement. I don't know if you could say a great deal of it. A lot of these stocks are not moving all that exciting. I wanted to check out Workday. It had good earnings a few days ago, and it's off a little. Talking about weak news in this. I would love to see this thing come back into the probably $61, $62 range. I've talked about how much I like this stock for the business, not a chart analyst version of it, other than the fact I just like the business that this company is in. Once they settle out, I would like to buy this company long term. I think it's the right folks, and they've got a very good cloud business in what they do. And not a big mover out here. We saw the earnings date come in on the 1st of March with 12 million shares. It's just kind of gone sideways since then. If we look at it on a retracement basis, it's gotten pretty close to the 618 retracement. What it really did is spike about 4 or 5 days ago into one of these big gap downs that this thing had, and that was on the 6th of January, like a lot of stocks. It came down on 2.2 million shares that day in January. Today, what is that? March 4th, got into it with 3.2 million shares, so spiked it. Couldn't hold that high, kind of pulling back. But there's a nice big juicy fastball out here with just a 50% retracement at 61.41. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on that one for a while. We'll be back, look at some other stocks out here, looking at MOS when we come back. There's the music. Anyway, give me a call, 877-927-6648. We're talking Mo's when we come back, and we will be talking about natural gas.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find the Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're back. Email from Mr. V-Text, and a big long number. Wanted to get in UGAS, and he was wondering where you could get in. And I have a feeling that it isn't a price, but a time. And until I start seeing some heat in the summer, I don't think I would want to be long natural gas. Can it bounce at any time? The answer is yes. I don't think I can predict it. If there is a product in the United States that is very tied to supply and demand, it's natural gas, and probably less susceptible to things like politics and everything else that almost everything else we trade does have. This is probably going to trade for the most part closer to its real, true market value. If we actually had a free market of anything, it would be out there. And as I said before, if you're trying to talk me into buying natural gas, it will have to be until demand comes back and supply starts to wane. And as I said, I don't want to be in natural gas until I know for a fact that the EPA flaring regulations are not going to be imposed by executive order or order of the EPA or the dog catcher or anybody else. That could put an absolute, I think that could put a floor in it. I would probably buy it if that actually happened, because I have a feeling that those EPA regulations would not last for long. It would spike the cost of gasoline so high that there would be a near riot in America. So I would like to see that. The thing is that you, at this time of year, unless we have some kind of Arctic blast come through here, let's say mid-May, seasonally, you get into about August before the contracts are signed with the major electrical producers. And until those contracts are signed, you're really living on the old contracts. And there isn't going to be a lot of change in the price point of these. In the past, they would go between coal and natural gas, and you'd see what the mix was. That had a lot to do with how natural gas actually traded. The question is, on these new contracts, does everybody just bite the bullet, say that coal is done, they won't use coal anymore, they'll go ahead and change their plants to natural gas if they can get it to them, and that's it. But there is so much natural gas. The old joke is that you could sell ice to an Eskimo. I think that's pretty much what you got to do now in natural gas. If you're a good enough salesman, maybe you can sell natural gas to a guy that owns a natural gas well or a oil well that spews huge amounts of natural gas off of it. But I don't see it. If you've got a good scenario that I've missed out here, other than we plunge into World War III and everybody needs everything, everything's off the table, I would accept that. But until August, heat comes back on, they start really using a huge amounts of natural gas, that's got to be it. I've got to see something, some reason. Huge amounts of need for electricity in building steel, huge demands for a war, huge demands for something. And all we have now is huge supply. And notwithstanding a few good weeks in crude, I think crude could pull right back down to 30, given just a little bit of a time and a lot of cheating by OPEC. So I'm not rabidly bullish on energy after this move. I think it can be just a up move in a down market. What else do we have out here in my email? Along the same lines of energy, I had a question to watch a video on YouTube. And, of course, it was all about some device, of course, that generates 4 times or 5 times more energy than you give it plugged into the wall. It's all this magnet spins around. There's a thing called the law of conservation of energy. And short of nuclear reactions, you are not going to get anything that pumps out 4 or 5 times the energy that you pump in it. And I think that's probably the easiest way. I know we had somebody call maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago. I couldn't quit laughing. I have to apologize to the guy again who called in. I can't remember who it was. But he was telling me all about this device that was going to do everything. And you know what? You hear these stories year after year after year. And now I can't hear one without laughing hysterically. everybody else say, there's this or there's that, or there's room temperature nuclear reactions. Well, if there's a nuclear reaction, there's going to be X-rays. So just put a X-ray detector next to it, and just put a piece of film next to it. And if there aren't any exposures on the film, you didn't have any X-rays, you didn't have any nuclear reactions. It's pretty easy to test. Wouldn't take more than a roll of film to see if one of these things worked. This one was based on the old magnetism scam. That doesn't work either. There's some really great ways to make energy. Fusion is one. There are some other ideas. Almost always it is a lot of pie in the sky. Fossil fuels are so incredibly cheap. It's disgusting. Solar panels. I saw a big survey on Wednesday. I didn't put it in the Tech Insider, although I thought I was going to do it, that actually went through the payback period on solar cells to break even at today's cost of electricity. And of course, that's with natural gas going to be absolutely dirt cheap next winter because they'll sign those contracts far beyond natural gas down here at the lows. They'll probably sign up for 4 or 5 years at these levels, is my guess. And then maybe you'll see some demand come off of them. But, it just doesn't make if anybody can make sense, give me a call, 877-927-6648. I just don't see it. I haven't heard anybody tell me a scenario that makes any sense on any of these things, including free energy, cold fusion. Solar cells work great. Just take 30 years to pay back. And that is as of Wednesday. I think the survey closed on Friday. And it still shows that the actual payback is 30 years. And frankly, if you want to wait for 30 years to get it, I can't guarantee I'm going to be living in the same house to put solar cells on my house or, pay twice as much for a car, pay $100,000 for a car that you can get for $60,000 that runs on gas. If you want to, that's great. God love you. When those cars are actually at the same price that a gasoline car is, hey, you will not be able to stop people from buying them. But if you bought a car and in 4 or 5 years you had to pull the engine out, put in a brand new engine and transmission, you would scream. And battery-powered cars are just that. Although there were 3 new cars, one from Hyundai, one from Honda. I think they were just showing that one this week. They're all running on hydrogen. And you could still be better off than gasoline today, making hydrogen from natural gas and still make it cheaper, which is one way of thinking of it. That may be a better way to actually use alternate energy vehicles. Anyway, Toyota, Honda, all of the hand is betting on it.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
If you're looking to discover a new financial resource and diversify your financial portfolio, consider the new Market Safe Commodity Solution CD from Everbank. This 5-year U.S. dollar-denominated CD gives you exposure to 8 equally weighted commodities, including WTI crude oil, gold, silver, copper, nickel, soybeans, corn, and sugar, in one powerful CD. With annual pricing caps of 70% per component, you could earn up to 70% upside payment at maturity if the commodities increase in value across annual pricing dates. And should the opposite occur, occur, your principal is 100% protected. Keep in mind, returns are based on CD performance. There is no annual percentage yield or periodic rate of interest on this indexed CD. Don't miss out. Take advantage of this financial resource designed to grow with the times. The April 14th funding deadline is quickly approaching, so hurry over to everbank.com/TFNN for the CD's term sheet and other important product details and disclosures. Once again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. This advertisement is sponsored content. Everbank is a member FDIC.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now, you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile-based scanner in the industry. Powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
And we got a few more questions here, kind of turning into a little Tech Insider Friday out here. When does commercial fusion energy supply arrive in the United States? Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, the same people that bought you the SR-71, have a design that looks fairly interesting. The proof of concept is either late this year or the first quarter of next year. These aren't the kind of guys to run around flakily saying stuff. They said if this thing and everything that they're working on works, that they could start delivering devices somewhere around 2020 or 2021. And again, I've watched a bunch of online videos. If you just do a few search terms, you'll see the people that are doing it. But they found some really pointy-headed guy that is smart as all get out, about 100 times smarter than me, that understands all of it. I've read enough of it that I understand the basics, kind of like a car engine. I'm not a mechanic, but I could take one apart and put it back together. I couldn't design one probably that worked well. Anyway, his designs are very interesting in the fact that these things are very small. The big powers that be are throwing their money at these giant things. I mean, literally the things the size of aircraft carriers as a single machine. You still got to put a building around them. That's the extra versions of those. But those things probably 2030, 2040, 2050. So there's a bunch of these smaller, quicker, faster devices that look like they may have a lot of promise. But we'll probably know in the next year whether that at least the cheaper, faster versions from Lockheed and a few other companies actually produce results. But you could have that. And the thought of almost free energy would be there. But it's interesting. What else do we have in my email? Vail, it looked just short 200 shares at 470. Why would anybody buy it, Dave? Vail, it looked to short. Oh, I think he wants to short at 470. Why would why would anyone buy it? Probably for the short squeeze, which you just had. A lot of these companies actually do have a business that can work. Why would anybody buy it? Normally you get an AC like this off the bottom. What you do is, next thing you do is go into consolidation for a while. I wouldn't be shorting any stock less than $30 to begin with. Can't really figure out from what they were saying out here what they're looking at. Can't really make it out just from the title. But why would anybody buy it? Right now, the most logical thing for this thing to do is go sideways for a while. And again, if the market goes down, this thing's probably going down with it. If the market goes sideways, this thing could base out. I just wouldn't. I think this is a no-touch stock at the moment. And again, I wouldn't be shorting anything less than $30. I've just run the numbers on them, and the problem is the law of large numbers. How many $1,000 stocks went to $1,500 the next day? They may go up 10 or 20%. How many stocks that you know that were $3 that opened up at $6 the next day? And you can pretty much draw a logarithmic chart that would show you that that is the way to the poorhouse. Not necessarily on this stock, but I would never get involved in that. I think it's taking a knife to a gunfight. CCP, Capital Care Company, a little bit down today. There's not a great deal out here moving a lot. Let's take a look at SERV. And this one did gap down a bit. Downgraded to neutral at Baird, like they have nothing to say about it. This one actually looks to me like an asymmetrical triangle. If this thing got back into its range, probably put this on my watch list, just because if this thing can continue having a basically lower highs and higher lows, this thing is making a nice asymmetrical triangle. The first breakout normally is something you want to fade. If it breaks down, you buy it. And if it breaks above the triangle, you want to sell it and short it. But Surface Master Global Holdings, interesting. See what else we have out here. Let's look at some of the other stocks I have in my list. Wolf. I don't know if I want to name my company Wolf, because someone would call it a dog maybe. But VCA, symbol is WOOF, is back up to basically its consolidation, and actually went through, I think we talked about this yesterday, went through this gap that it had, which was the 4th of January. This thing came down just 750,000 shares, no big deal. About 500,000 so far today, but it certainly looks like it's coming back up to this high 56, low $57 level that has been, this thing has been beating at on and around forever. Let's find out what this stock does. Animal healthcare company in the United States. It offers probably a great reason to call it Wolf. Animal hospital and laboratory. Animal hospital segment offers general medical and surgical devices for companion animals, as well as specialized treatment. Especially with the way that, what was the company? Blue Buffalo? Was it Buff? The symbol for that this week? That had, Blue Buffalo had, it might be an interesting play. I'll have to look at it a little bit more. This thing, Blue Buffalo, had a nice move a couple of days ago. Did it on volume. Is back up through its gap down of the 18th of September. You had a nice bunch of gaps back here. That opens up the next gap, which would take you up to 25.05 in Blue Buffalo. But not a lot of follow through out here today. You'd actually want to look at this thing probably coming back down to this $20 level. There's an existing gap plus the gap from earnings a couple of days ago. If it could get down there in that $20 range with a very light volume, that may be a buy too. Smith & Wesson actually had some people out there raining on it. It's been kind of an interesting stock, very politically driven and headline driven on whether or not the Second Amendment is involved. This did finally go through its high on lighter volume. It's finally pulling back today on lighter volume, but back into the trading range. One of the things I think this is probably range bound now is the January 5th high back down to the January 20th low. The energy was pretty good. Did a little less on the way back up here. It has pierced its high. It's come up here, not a lot of volume. Back into the trading range. Could say this thing is just bouncing around from that 26, mid 26 levels down to the low 19s, back to this gap that has acted as support. We'll be back in a minute. Give me a call, 877-927-6648. Email me at path@tfnn.com, and we'll talk about
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of The Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we're back. We'll check back in here. We're at 2016, as we said, a whole lot of nothing. In fact, I'm ready to call for the paddles to give this thing a little electroshock thump, get the heart started again. As we said, volume has been pathetic pretty much all the day. We've had a few kind of moves that brought some volume in, but 2.8 billion shares is kind of what we had at 2:15 yesterday. So volume is very, very light, especially compared to the last few weeks, even some of the big days that we've had. Up and down. So not a whole lot of energy back into this. Dollar, of course, is just up 11 cents today, which is like what? The volatility is about what? 1/20th of what it was yesterday. So maybe it's just time for us to digest a lot of what's going on in the market and come back next week. But it certainly looks to me like we could just have this thing tick up into the FOMC meeting and have the governors and the chairwoman looking at down the double-barreled shotgun of a market that could be just blown over with a nice whistle or a little tiny wind, maybe 5-mile-an-hour wind, because, man, I'm looking at a ton of stocks that just have incredibly light volume. On a day where they probably should be doing a lot better. You would have liked to seen some of these bigger stocks, especially the FANG stocks, have on a move up on a day like this, some kind of juice. Amazon basically whiffing out here today. I don't know if you can make a great deal of it other than it's going sideways. When we look at Apple, this thing probably should be running into earnings. It's kind of just dancing around here as it's pulled back. But again, it's up a little higher today. 16 million shares. That's not enough to do anything. Options are really kind of giving us a picture, and nothing has really changed on it. It kind of shows that come next Friday, this market wants to, at least the market makers think this market wants to expire somewhere around 1950 or 1970. Nothing has really changed, and it is most puzzling. What else do we want to look at here? I had a question to look at Microsoft before we get it stage right for the week. And this one is certainly building up some energy. We've talked about very narrow trading ranges, and of course, that's what we've had in Microsoft now back to the February 22nd high. Talk about very, very narrow ranges and not a great deal of volume. Yesterday, probably more volume than not. A little doji out here to the outside. I think you can make a case for a bigger pattern setting up in a narrowing trading range. And of course, not really great to try to trade these things until they bust one way or another. But I think you could make a case for Microsoft being one of these companies that are in an asymmetrical triangle. May take a little while longer for this to come out. But again, when these things get narrow, they go sideways for a while. Wait for them. Don't anticipate, but wait for them to bounce one way or the other, and then see what the energy's like and see whether or not you should fade them. Many times, that's probably the way to use them. In the meantime, you can check out my newsletters under the front page of TFNN.com. You can look at the Tech Insider, which is my weekly. You can also look at the daily, The Path of Least Resistance. Both of those, go to the front page of TFNN under newsletters, and you will find them. In the meantime, hang on for Tom O'Brien. Sell when you can, not when you have to. And we'll see you Monday. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
You're watching Tiger TV.